What's up, you guys? Welcome to my first video ever with a guest. For a celebrity guest. Today I wanted to have my mom on this video because we went through that really rough stage in our life where she had gotten her diagnosis of having ovarian cancer, and I thought it would be very beneficial to talk about it with her. One, because we haven't actually sat down and talked about the whole thing before, so we're probably gonna cry. We already
excuse us.
We already have our tissues. But I think this is beneficial to other people not going through the same exact thing, because the mechanisms we took to heal, we all go through something at some point, and I think the mechanisms we used and the healing process can be beneficial to a lot of people, not people just struggling with cancer, but also really informative for those who have a family member, a friend, or maybe even yourself who are going through this or might one day go through this. First off, Mom, I do want to get into how you found out you had cancer. What did that look like?
Okay, well, I'll have to step back to finding out that I had a gene mutation. That was what started my whole journey. So I was approaching 50. I had just lost Grandpa. We lost Grandpa, my dad, to cancer, a very rare cancer. And I figured it was probably time for me to be a little proactive and see if I myself carried that gene.
Which is the BRCA gene.
So it's the BRCA gene mutation. So everybody carries the BRCA genes, BRCA 1 and 2. A lot of times you'll hear she has BRCA. She has the BRCA gene. Well, it's a BRCA gene mutation because the BRCA gene's job is to repair the DNA and keep us from getting any kind of cancer, especially breast cancer. And breast cancer can be found in men and women. So the mutation piece is what's important because that's where the problem lies. It doesn't allow my body to repair cancer cells in the way that it does for everybody else.
Do you remember the percentage? I don't remember the exact percentage, but I know it was extremely high.
So because I also had the family history of actual cancer present in our family, breast cancer, that increases your chances even more. I was closer to about 75% probability that I would get breast cancer, mostly breast cancer, because it's been in our family. Ovarian cancer was not even a thought in my mind.
From there, I remember you starting to talk about the possibility of you getting these preventative surgeries, which to us and to many people sounded really crazy and kind of extreme.
Yes, I found out I've got this gene mutation, right? And when the doctor called me to tell me about it, she actually said, you do in fact carry the BRCA gene 1 mutation. And there was just silence because I was just trying to take that in. And she came, and next she said, so congratulations, you might have just saved your life. She started talking about possibilities of what I can do. And I mean, it was quick, it was immediate. She says, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We can either do surveillance. Now that we know that you have this, we're going to monitor you every 6 months. You're going to get
very invasive
breast MRIs. You're going to get, pelvic ultrasounds every 6 months. Or you can do these surgeries, preventative surgeries. So of course, surgery is not the first thing that anybody jumps to.
And the surgery specifically were?
A double mastectomy and removing a full hysterectomy. Now these are your options. You can choose to do the preventative surgery, or we can go in and start doing more biopsies. And I think it was at that point that I said, I can't do this. I just wasn't ready for making those decisions, but at the same time, the push for it and the urgency, she kept saying, you're already 50. It's in your family. It shows up in your 50s. Mm-hmm. You don't have much time for this if you choose to do it. Let me backtrack a little bit too before I actually went into my surgeries. I got the surveillance done for the pelvic ultrasounds. So I had a couple of those done. I went ahead and did those every 6 months for a full year. And those were fine. Every time I got the results from those, it said, ovaries look good. I have it in black and white.
Twice, right?
In writing, twice, yes. So That was the least of my worries.
Which is kind of scary as females because we do all these tests that my mom went through and they don't pick up ovarian cancer.
Yes.
So it's like, why are we doing them then? But
Exactly. I did amazingly well through my surgeries. I did not expect to do as well as I did, especially with that double mastectomy. It's a huge surgery.
So as we finished those last 2 surgeries, you healed really well. It was finally time to get your last surgery, which we thought, which was the full hysterectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got the surgery. I got engaged a few days later. There was a lot of excitement. And then that's when you got your results. Yes. Am I missing anything?
No, you're not. Yes, I had finally decided. I went through my 3 surgeries, actually. Well, the 2 for my mastectomy, and that was over a period of 4 months. And then I was going to just take a break for like 6 months to a year, and was convinced by Dad and Grandma to just go ahead and just do it all.
Which I was like, are you sure, Mom? Like, why would you fix what's okay with you? Like, kind of don't try to fix something that's not broken.
Right.
That's kind of the perspective.
Right. Well, that was the whole, that even went through my mind throughout everything all the time. Like, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm taking body parts out when I don't even need to. But I was so fearful of having cancer. That was a lot of my driving force too. And I just thought I would much prefer, if I do have such a high percentage of cancer, I would much prefer to have to go through a surgery while I'm healthy to prevent that kind of cancer than to have to deal with all these medical issues while I'm weak and I do have cancer and my body's trying to fight something else off. I was convinced to do the hysterectomy. I thought, all right, you're right. Let's get this done. Let's get it over with. That way we can just move on. All of this can be behind me. I will have done everything to prevent that I can. I will have done what I set out to do and done it successfully while I'm healthy. So I did it, and that was, I had already been through the hardest, right?
Yeah, we thought.
I remember sitting on the couch with Dad, and I turned to him and I said, I can't believe, that's all I said that came out of my mouth. I can't believe. And he said, that you took everything out of your body and you didn't have to. And I said, yes, that's exactly how I feel. I said, and that's how we felt. I didn't have to do any of this. And then 3 days later, I get a phone call. I see a phone call from my oncologist, who never calls me in person. The minute I saw that he was calling me in person, I thought, because it was his cell phone number, and I said, this cannot be good. Because he did tell me there's a chance. Every so often, I do get a patient where we do a preventative surgery and we actually find it, that they already have it. Again, that was just like,
oh, I'm already crying.
So he calls me and he says, we got your pathology results. And I said, uh-huh, and he says, and you've already have stage 2 ovarian cancer. And again, I was silent, just taking it in, and I said, wow, I don't even know what to say. Like, how could we have not known? And he said, it wasn't expected. It wasn't expected at all for me either, because it was a quick surgery. I didn't see anything in there. We didn't anticipate this. Your test results from before were okay. But he says, like, as I had already told you, this happens with a small percentage of people every so often. So I just said, okay, what do we do now? What are our next steps? Because, well, first of all, it was just even accepting the fact that this is real. I thought my journey was over, but it just started in a terrifying way, because I never expected that. They didn't expect that. So they had not biopsied anything else around. They hadn't done anything else in there. They had removed everything. It was already in my right. I had precancerous cells in my right fallopian tube, and I had them in my left fallopian tube and in my ovary, and it had already come to the surface of the ovary. So it was literally on its way to a stage 3. Stage 3 is when
Right.
it starts to affect other organs in your body that are surrounding.
Mind you, what's really interesting as well is that they call cancer, ovarian cancer, the silent killer, right?
Silent
Because
killer.
just like she had gotten those tests, you can't really see it, ovarian cancer. You can only test the actual, like, ovary or the actual, the tissue of it. Oh, this was the worst part. There was a month after she got diagnosed, there was a month we didn't know what stage it was,
Yes.
right? So we didn't know, like, were you gonna make it at my wedding? But that part
So-
was probably, for me, the worst. Just that waiting stage of like, what is this? How long do you have to do chemo?
I was starting to focus on the negative, on the bad part. How am I going to do this? I was terrified because I'm the kind of person who couldn't even take
Certain vitamins
cold
make you-
medicine at night without feeling bad the next day or feeling groggy. And so I was like, how is my body going to be able to handle
Yeah.
poison going through it?
Because there was a point where my mom she went maybe from, like, I don't want to say victim, but that stage of like, oh my God, like this is really happening to me, to where we like stepped over this line and we became so grateful. And this really, if we didn't have a relationship with God, we would still be damaged. You know what I mean? It was really tough. And I knew for sure, like I've had a relationship with God for a while. So I kept this book actually, and it has tons of prayers. I want to cry. I'm trying to talk normal. It has tons of prayers that I was like, okay, God, like, if you are who you say you are, I'm going to ask you super, super specific things. And if you're real, you'll answer them according to how I ask them. And so my mom had to get a port. You want to show it? Well, I don't know if you want to show it.
Well,
you can't really
I
see
was
it.
trying to hide it, but here we go. Here it is. I still have it in me.
It's basically, I don't know, is it like a tube? It's this thing that goes into you right here, and the chemo gets inserted through there, and then it goes through your blood.
It goes through an artery instead of having to go through your arm all the time.
Yeah, right.
So it makes it easier when they actually do the treatments.
So of course my mom looked it up, and she looked it up on her support groups, and it was just like excruciating pain that these women were getting, and infections. Like, just the worst stories ever. Like, at that point, you were more scared of getting, what is it called?
Getting the port.
Getting the port than the chemo. That's how much your mind was consumed by the pain of it. And I think I lost the page. Basically, I had written a prayer that I specifically asked God, God, I want there to be absolutely no infection. And then this is where, like, the specific prayers, I told God, I want it to hurt no less than a shot, which is unheard of. It was supposed to be, like, so painful. And then my mom was so scared. She finally got the port, and I called her, and I was like, Mom, how do you feel? And I was still nervous, and she was like, actually, kind of felt like a shot. And that's when I was like, you know, the moment I found out my mom had cancer, I was like, okay, I know I need to pray, and I need to thank God, and I need to worship. That's the first thing I did, is I worshiped God on my way to see my mom when she called me, and I found out that she had cancer. And that's not to sound like I'm so holy. It's not that. It's that it changed my life. It literally changed my life. I was able to pour that into my mom and my dad, and I just don't know what we would have done without that faith. Seriously, I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know how anybody can get through that sort of a circumstance without having faith.
Without knowing there's a higher power.
Yes.
There's God that will take care of you. And I think, just to be more specific, how could that have possibly changed your mind so much? We were terrified of chemo, just absolutely terrified. And when we kind of tapped in and acknowledged that, God, you are who you say you are, we went to thank you, God, for chemo. Thank you that it's an option. Thank you that you gave us something that fights cancer. And that was the game changer. Not to say it never got sad again. When we figured this out, we still had a month and a half left of crying every single day. But it was reminding yourself, and that self-talk. And I would tell you, like, Mom, like, be careful how you, like, those thoughts that you have, tell them no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think, do I have a year left? Like, tell it no. And so these were some of the conversations we had. But I do want you to talk about, I think, just the role of a partner. Because we hear all the time, we hear vows, and they sound really pretty and cute.
Mm-hmm.
But in sickness and in health, that's real. That's so real.
That is real. And your dad lived it out for sure. I mean, he showed me. Your dad has always supported me in everything that I do. Never held me back from anything. He's always encouraging to me. But when he heard this, it shook his world as much as it shook mine. And because we talk about our future together, and it's a beautiful picture that we have for one another, that we're time spent together, our family growing, being grandparents, traveling the world, seeing things together. And you know, we still enjoy each other, we love each other, we want that time. And so, I'm not kidding you, not for a minute did your dad, I mean, he said, we're going to do this together. And he made that promise 27 years ago. He made that promise again a couple of years ago, and he followed through. I mean, he just,
Yeah.
he really made things. He went up to every appointment with me. We increased our faith in a whole different way. And like you said, prayer changed for us. It was different. We turned to the Lord, and we saw exactly, like you said, we went from, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I have cancer, to thank you, Lord, for helping us find this early. It's the difference between me having years ahead versus months to live. And we knew we had yours and Josiah's wedding coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just so many things, and we just, boy, it set us back. But at the same time, we knew where we needed to focus our efforts, and it brought so much clarity to me, like, this is why, Lord, everything was so expedited. This
Right,
is
for sure.
why everything was pushed. And guess what? Dr. Smith said, congratulations, you might have just saved your life. That's what I did.
I saw this huge transformation in you in terms of, I don't know if it's, you were like, now I know my purpose. Because I don't know, you're the same mom I always had, but you're not the same individual that I grew up with. I think you look at life a lot differently.
I do.
This was like, we had a get together for 4th of July. That's the first time I've seen my mom not fully clean the house before people came over.
I had a mess.
Because she just wanted to be with family. And it's like those little things.
Yes.
But now you want to start a support group, correct? For just individuals going through this journey, because, you know, we have all the medical support, but we don't necessarily have, what do you do with all these feelings? Like, you know, what do you do with all of them? And where do they go? And how do you not get into a depression, even though it kind of almost seems inevitable?
Right.
Or how do you heal from cancer or beat it and not fear every single day that you're going to get it again?
Mm-hmm. What I know for myself, and what I know, because I'm back on the support groups, what I know from different people is that cancer changes you. It changes your outlook on life, because you go from taking so many things for granted to cherishing every moment that you have left. I mean, we all know we're going to die, but when you are faced with a possibility that can really be sooner than later, it really changes your perspective on life. And you can see it in two different ways. You can get very negative about it and angry, and it's okay. Sometimes that's even just a phase that you got to go through. But you can't stay stuck there.
For anyone generally, I think that's a great point. We talked about, we all go through hard things, but you can't stay stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? How do you get past, or is that something you're still figuring out?
Well, I'm still figuring that out, because I still have the fear every time I have a pain in my stomach, or a weird sensation. Every time I go to get another test, are my levels changed? Is it coming back? You really have to work on your thinking. It's a head game. this is just the beginning for me. I don't know how to get started with support groups, but I'm finding my way. Might start small at church, and then work my way up into larger groups. But I didn't have a resource or somebody to go to that had been exactly in my situation. I had friends and family that had been through cancer, but the preventative side of things and what I chose to do, there's not very many people. I don't know a single person who went through that. So I couldn't ask them, do you feel crazy that you're doing this? Did it help? Because you start to feel crazy that you're doing such a radical step in your life. So I researched what to do for my diet. I think that's what really helped me through getting through chemo. Researching on what to do for myself. I felt like a lot of times it had to just be me and God. And how are we going to do this together? Again, not to exclude any of you all, because everybody was so good to me, but I also knew I had to do things for myself. And I want to now be able to share it with people. And I'm not going to hide whatever I do, whatever my support group is going to be. I'm not going to hide how important it is to have that spiritual aspect. I know that not everybody believes in the same God, but I think it's so important you have to have that spiritual side. And without the Lord, you just cannot, you can't. It would be tough to make it through this. I personally can't see how I would have made it through, how our family wouldn't make it through. And honestly, we're a testament to show how much stronger we actually came out.
Yeah. And it's funny because you were so private in the beginning, so scared to share any little detail.
I was.
And now through this confidence you've developed, like spiritually, you're putting it all on the internet.
Yes, I am. No, millions or how many ever? Hundreds.
Millions.
Hundreds.
1 million.
We'll see this.
When I blow up on YouTube.
But I think it's important. I think all of it's important. I think.
In fact, when we went to go see my mom's doctor about her diagnosis, I literally prayed over. I had the doctor pray with me for my mom, and then we prayed over the doctor.
Yes. And in every surgery, I would pray before, and I would tell them, I'm praying for you. I'm praying that God gives you.
We would pray for my mom's healing,
skill
and then all right,
yes.
doctor, let's make sure you're equipped.
Yes, exactly. But guess what? It worked.
Yeah,
it worked. God is good. He's faithful.
It's
He's so
real.
faithful, and it's wonderful. And here I am to prove it.
Yeah,
I am a testament. So, going back, we were talking about my port here. Well, supposedly they leave it in for 2 years just in case it comes back. I'm kind of at a point where I think at this next appointment, I'm going to ask for orders to take it out because I don't intend to have this again. I don't intend to want to have to do this again. And I think that I think that the Lord put me through. He got me through all of this for a reason. From the point that I found out to how it all happened so quickly, how it all happened in the right way, there's a reason for me to not have to have this anymore. I don't want this anymore. I don't intend on having it again. So that's what I'm going to do because
that's awesome.
I know
I didn't know that.
That's
news to me.
Yeah, the Lord is guiding me.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for being my first guest. Thank you for being so honest, and we wish you luck on your new venture of starting something and leading that group, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, and thank you for everything that you did for me. By the way, she would pray with me, come visit me, buy me wigs. She bought me wigs when I went through chemo. We would go for walks together. She and Josiah would take me for walks after to help me feel strengthened after chemo. Just everything. All your love and your prayers and your support. I can't even words can't even describe how grateful I am. And I love you.
I love you too. Well, thanks for watching. On that note, thank you so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if this is something that helped you. See you on the next video.